All right, Barangay Grit. Welcome to another episode of the Voice of Grit Business Talks podcast, brought to you by Lexter Ang and Art Type Design Studios. All right, today we have with us our founding president, Miss Edlynn Nang. Hello, President.
Hello, Press Cyril. Yes. How are you
Still feels
today?
so weird. Please don't call me Press. It's fine. Cyril lang. Sanay na ako, Cyril lang tawag.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we're here today, President. And I want to ask you a couple of questions about what you do in Grit and how you got into this. So let's start off with that. No? Parang just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into what your classification is, right?
All right. So I'm Edlynn. Well, professionally, I'm a CPA actually. That's my background. So from
Oh, wow.
being
I
an
didn't know that.
really, oh, okay. So from being an auditor in SGV, that was my first job. All right. Yes.
Oh.
So from there, I moved to private practice. So I was in the finance department of a manufacturing company. And then, so I moved on to other roles, which is actually moving to arts. So from this company, I moved to a design studio and I was an apprentice for an art director. So I was kind of dabbling on my creative side there.
Grabe ng one-to-one natin. I don't know why I've never heard that from you before.
Okay, I think
So
matagal na
well kept
yun
secret.
for one thing. Yes. So we need another
So
one.
how did you end up being, being into insurance?
Okay, so from there from graphic design, I actually went into uh client management, of course. So because being in the finance industry, I saw insurance as the bridge. No, it has sales and it also has the finance, right? The numbers. So, well, the difference, of course, in my audit work, we're looking at financial statements of companies, whereas for insurance and financial planning, it's really all about personal or family planning. So there. So that's where I saw the sweet spot there.
Nice. So, is there like a big purpose here on why you're doing this more than just the opportunity that you saw and the sweet spot that you saw? Like, are you really helping your customers and the community around you?
Definitely. One of my strength is actually being deliberative. If you're familiar with Gallup, so it's I can look at
Let's find her, right?
strengths finder,
And
correct.
find her. There you go.
So I can look at potential risks or challenges ahead of time. So I already anticipate that. So that's really the essence of insurance. It's risk management. In fact, in Pro Life, it's all about taking the risk out of people's lives. So leave the risk taking with us. So that's really
Awesome.
a big
So,
picture.
so most of your like target, like how do you identify them? How do you connect with them for you to be able to deliver your service to them?
I work well mostly with families. So definitely if a husband and wife, if I get to talk to them together, because the challenge is sometimes, with all the duties and responsibilities and keeping the relationships within the family very harmonious. Of course there is also a finance aspect to it. So we do planning. So we do for both of them individually and also their children, their offsprings as well. So it's kind of like a family package because sometimes that's the only time they really think about it. Just really sit down and think about how are we going to lay it out. So there. So mostly coming from referrals. And yes, of course, my warm market, can also relate to, my family and friends. So that's really where I started. And I started as a client, by the way. That's where this conviction is coming from. Because, it's not, if you just leave the money in the bank, then it really is going to lose against inflation. And we know how it's affecting us these days, right?
True. Even me, like I'm losing so much money because of this inflation problem. But you mentioned something about a personal story, why your conviction is so strong here. What was that? If you don't mind sharing.
Uh, it's it's all about being proactive in my life. I actually had my first insurance policy when I was 23. I was very active, going out, meeting with friends. And of course, my parents really fed me, supported me, clothed me and educated me. So I think when I started earning, it's time for me to give back so that in case, something happens, then there's something there for them. Of course, we don't want that to happen. But again, there are really two problems that we solve, right? It's really dying too early or living too long. Because when we something happens to us early and we leave our beneficiaries, then that's something we don't want to happen. And if we live too long, how can we be sure that our resources can really sustain us?
True, because at the end of the day, you want quality of life.
Exactly. And of course, sometimes if you're out of work from retirement, then the source of funds will be questionable, right?
True, true, true. How very true. Okay, okay. But Present, we have a couple of like insurance companies also in the chapter, and there's a myriad of other choices also out there, right? So you specifically, I know you're with Pru Life, but you specifically, how are you different though? So I guess the question here would be, is like, why choose you?
Correct. Well, if we start from the beginning of GRiT when we were forming, Lenny from AXA was really she was one of the first members that Yarmo, our executive director, talked to, right? So, but she's really strongly about health insurance. So I think their flagship product is GHA. So that's Global Health Assist, right? So it's an international health insurance. So that's really her focus. Okay. So when I came in, I'm really focusing on life. So that's life insurance and disability actually for BNI. That's the official classification. And then eventually Trell came in, but her focus is really on mutual funds. So mostly it's really investments, but it's pool funds, right? If you're familiar with mutual funds. So it's all about putting money in a fund where there's a lot of um, components and companies within, so that there's a fund manager who manages the fund and make sure that it's invested according to the objectives of the fund and of the objectives of the client as well. Is that clear? I hope. Actually, that's just the long and short of it. I agree that we are all insurance companies, and actually we do offer, sometimes we have overlapping products and services, right? But for the sake of collaboration, we're willing to work together.
Which is what we really try to encourage here in BNI Grit, no? Oh, that's awesome. All right, so but you yourself, Present, no, being life insurance, diba? And there are a lot of other life insurance offerings out there, not just in the chapter, of course, diba? But out there also. What makes you better? You yourself, no, you personally as an insurance agent, what makes you better?
First of all, I really believe in what I what I offer because I'm a client myself. It's really coming from a deep part of me that I have strong belief. I have served claims. I actually have already paid out. The company has paid out like 2 death claims and 3 critical illness claims. So
Wow.
that's the an agent's full circle, as they say. Because, at the onset, we say, okay, we promise to do this. We promise to give this if something happens to you. And if that event does come, then we're here to deliver on our promise. And of course, my tenure, I've been doing this for almost 2 decades, Cyril. Can you imagine? So I've been through the
Wow.
worst of the 2008 crisis, believe it or not.
You're still
I
in insurance.
I know. So I guess for me, because I know that if I'm in insurance, it's a lifetime relationship. That's why it's life, right? From cradle to grave. Actually, so I have to be for with my clients, serving them as long as I can, and I'm allowed to. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can feel your dedication.
Thanks.
So let's talk about how you ended up in BNI to begin with. Like, what motivated you to join? I know that you were in BNI before and it did kind of work out, right? And then a new chapter came in with Judy and Yarmo, and then they asked you to come in, right? But
Yeah.
so that one I know. That one that this is your second stint with BNI, and so far I feel that it's working out for you. But what I don't know is why you said yes in the first place to the second stint.
First of all, it's online. I think that's the simplest. Just a brief history, of course, when I joined almost 20 years ago, that was also a long-term relationship I had with BNI then. I actually formed my own chapter. It was called BNI Harvest. So what I
Ooh,
did, I looked at my client list and look at those who are business owners. And then I invited them to breakfast. And the objective was just to introduce them to each other. Because who knows, right? Somebody might need the service of somebody else in that group. So that was really how simple it was. I'm the common denominator. So it's borrowed trust. As they say, right? Because they're all my clients. So I was telling them, okay, so if this you like this setup, there's actually an organization that can professionalize and systematize the referral passing. Would you be interested? And they said
wow.
yes.
So even though your first stint ended, you really still believed in the system. It just didn't work out.
Yes, again, going back to my strengths finder, my number one is connectedness. So I was really longing to be connected to more people. I really enjoy meeting new people and finding out what makes them tick. That's my individualism thing.
Is that why? Is that why we have so many sessions?
Oh, 'di ba? So actually yun, when the opportunity came, it was actually Serially. But I was very skeptic, honestly. I was kind of very skeptic about joining again because I actually spoke to some people, but there was no spark.
Oh
But
wow.
because Serially was the one who invited me and she mentioned she knows Judy and Yarmo from John Maxwell training. Then I said, okay, I'll check it out. It's via Zoom because I moved to Calamba outside in the suburbs, right? Because of my
Yes.
kid. So I had to raise a family. That's how I describe it. So face to face would be challenging for me during this time that I'm here. So because it's online. Again, it's Sarah Lee. I've known her since. So I was like, okay, let's just see. Well, I guess meeting Yarmo, I kind of felt, okay, I think this is going somewhere great. And then I love the name. I asked Sarah Lee, what's the name? And she said, BNI Grit. It's like my hair stood. So I had goosebumps. So I go,
You know
okay,
what? We should find out who thought of that. I don't know who thought of Grit.
Yarmo.
Oh,
Yarmo.
Yarmo did. Oh, thank you, Yarmo.
Ironically, in insurance, in BNI insurance is a hot seat. Okay, so honestly, they're kind of like other insurance agent that they were considering to be part.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
and I don't know if you're aware of that. So, but I guess
No,
Yarmo chose me because I maybe had more to offer on the
because you were
table.
special.
Because yeah, special like with the red dot. I'm saying because I was saying, you can't just come in and wait for things to happen. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
expectation is you come in, but you have to bring in two people.
yes,
Because it's really a core member. It's a different
yeah.
ball game as versus when we are now at, I don't know, 70 plus, right, in grit.
And then
So,
when you're starting,
yes, launching chapters is different. It's intense.
I can
So,
imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, but I do
yeah,
love your story. It's like the Ivan Meister story. Also, basically, you got your power team together and put them in the BNI system, diba? Parang ganyan. Well, that's awesome. All right, so that's all the time we have today, President. But it was lovely chatting with you. It gave me, actually, I'm so surprised. As many talks as we've had, I'm still learning new things about you, and this is awesome. And yeah, so I look forward to your future presentation, which is on October 25. And
thank, thanks
that's
for this.
it. I would love to have you again to talk about grit some more, and to learn more things about you.
All
All right,
right.
that's it.
Thanks, Ariel.
You.